The holidays are over, but that does not mean you have to hide away your red lipstick until next December. I'm going to share 4 ways you can take a bright, bold lip color. Today, specifically, I'm going to be dealing with red lipstick, but these rules would apply, or these tips would apply to any of those bright, bold lipstick shades that you have in your drawer that you only pull out for special occasions. Let's get started. And as we do, I'm going to share, I am wearing the Revlon lipstick in the shade 810 Uncut Ruby. This is a satin formula, which will make a difference in how different things layer on top. So if you have a matte red lipstick, it's a little easier to layer some different colors, but with a satin, it's a little trickier. So let's begin with the first tip. And this is my go-to personally for most of my bright lipstick shades, and that is to use a neutral lip liner to tone it down. Now, just because a lip liner is neutral does not mean it's going to work. So these 2 shades from Ravi Beauty, this one is Honey, this one is Almond. Honey, you can see, is way too light to really have any impact. Almond is better, and this could work. It's still not quite dark enough. These are the 2 shades, but Almond would definitely work. However, for today, I think I'm going to use the Maybelline On It lip liner. And you can see this one is just a smidge darker and a little warmer. So I have some warm tones in my skin, and this one for me leans a little more neutral. Now, I'm not going to go directly on. So I've already applied that red lipstick. The first thing I'm going to do is actually blot my lips. And now I'm going to add that Maybelline lip liner in On It. Now, after you've added that lip liner to the outside, and you can see I feathered it in the center, or in towards the center, then just go right here in the center of the lip and tap a little more. Then you can pull out your red lipstick, because, you know, the point is to actually see a little bit of this color, right? So I'm just going to tap a little bit of this. And there we have this really pretty, just muted reddish tone on the lips. It's a little more berry, a little more neutral, but we still have a decent amount of color, but I feel like it is a lot less dramatic than the bright red that we started with. Now from here, you could definitely do any of the next 3 tips that I'm going to share with you, and it will further tone it down. But to be fair, I want to show each of the tips with the bright red color on its own, so you can see how each of them works. Now, tip number 2, we're starting off with clean lips. Now, typically I would still go in with that lip liner first, but I want to show you these tips on their own, and then at the end, I'll show you a combination. So for this tip, we're going to use a little bit of concealer, and we are going to start with the concealer. Now, your consistency of concealer will kind of make this easier or harder, but if you have a stick concealer, this is the Tear or Dual Indic Concealer. I'm not sure how I feel about this under my eyes, but it does have a stick concealer, and I'm going to use this in the center of my lip. And you don't want to get this in your mouth per se, you know, but we're just going to use a little bit of it in the center of the lip. And then we're going to go in with our lipstick, and we're just going to go in super lightly with this. And by doing that, you can see it did lighten it and turn it more of a pink color. So this is important to note, because if you're starting off with an already bright pink and you think you're going to change the tone of that pink, you're not. But this step will definitely lighten it, and I think this is a really pretty kind of springtime pink color. And if you go back with a little more concealer, you can then just further mute it down. And there we have this really, really soft rosy shade on the lips. Tip number 3, we have reapplied that red lipstick, and now I'm going to blot it off again. And now we are going to use a frosty, shimmery lipstick to tone this down. One of my all-time favorites that I have used for years in this capacity is Gel from MAC. There are a few similar shades with Revlon. There's a couple of new other brands coming out, but you just want to look for something that's frosty. And you can see this one has a little bit of a gold shift. If you go in with something with a little more of a silvery shift, it's going to make it more pink. I feel like a gold or slightly rosy gold shade in a lipstick is also neutralizing. So we're going to go ahead and just go right over this blotted lip now. So here you can see it definitely just changed the tone and it made it into this beautiful kind of more corally shade with gold reflect as the light hits it. I love this combination. Now, if you got this on and you were still like, oh, it's still a little bright, you could blot again and just go in with a little more. Make sure you clean off your lipstick, a little more of that. And it will further lighten that shade. But do you see what a completely different color now we have? And I just love this tone. And because this has shimmer, it reflects the light a lot like a gloss on top would. So there is option number 3. Once again, starting with a freshly applied layer of the red lipstick. So this 4th tip is to use a gloss, but not just any gloss. If you go in with a gloss like this, which is beautiful, and it has shine and just sparkle, this is Anastasia Beverly Hills Amber Sparkle. I love this color, but it does not have any like base color. So it is kind of clear with shimmer. And this is not going to do a whole lot to dial back the brightness or the boldness of your lipstick. Instead, you want to choose something like this shade. This is Pink Ginger, also from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And you'll see this has more of that metallic finish, which gives it more opacity. So you see we have more of a clear base and this one has opacity. So it's gonna do something to actually tone down the color. Now, once again, we do need to blot our lip. Really important, especially when putting a gloss over a satin lipstick. If you have a matte lipstick, you're not gonna have to do as much blotting. All right, we have that blotted, and now we're gonna go in with Pink Ginger. And similar to the effect that the gel lipstick had, is what this lip gloss is going to give you. It's still leaving a lot of that color there, but it's giving us just a beautiful, more of a corally shade. Now, again, if you want to dial it back even further, blot, and then just add a touch more in the center of the lip. And what's really good about a bright lipstick shade is most of them are going to stain your lips. So if you apply it once and do one of these adjustments, and then throughout the day, you're just applying your gloss on top, it's going to further mute it down as you go through the day. But here it is with the lip gloss on top and just that added little bit. I think it's so pretty. Now, as I promised, I'm going to show you a combination. So what if we combine a couple of these steps together? So I wiped off that lipstick and I've got a red stain on my lips already. So we're going to start off with the first tip with lip liner. I'm going to add a little bit of some lipstick. And I'm just tapping this in. Blot off the excess. And now I'm going to go in with the gel lipstick. And then you can further just blend that lip liner a little bit. Now, of course, if we want to add on just a little bit of concealer and a little bit of our gloss. And there you go. We have this beautiful kind of mid-tone shimmery pink color on the lips. I love it. I hope that you found this video helpful. As always, I will list and link everything I used in the description box down below, along with the specific colors. However, keep in mind, you don't have to use the exact same products that I used. Go through your collection, pull out similar tones, similar finishes that you might already own, and just start playing around and see what combinations you can come up with. Another bonus tip is you can also use your red lipstick on your cheeks as a nice little cream blush. Just blend it out on the back of your hand with a brush. You can also bring in a little bit of face moisturizer to kind of help it blend a little easier into your skin. Tap it on your cheeks, and voila, you have a beautiful creamy blush that you can use. So don't neglect your red lipstick for 11 months out of the year. There are so many other ways to get use of it throughout the whole year. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.